Welcome to a very special episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. I'm your host, Wes, and joining me once again is my co host, Mike. And for some reason, my picture is a little out of the view, so let's fix that while we do intro stuff. Um, yeah, this is not my normal background, nor is that Mike's normal background, and that's because we are not in our normal places. Uh, we are here in Nashville, Tennessee. We attended the 2022 Music City Hockey Classic this year between the University or Northeastern University and Western Michigan University. There were some issues in today's game. We weren't entirely sure if it was going to happen. We were supposed to attend the NHL game, and that ended up getting postponed as a water main busted near Bridgestone Arena. So, made an eventful day. I think we were constantly staring at Twitter looking for updates as to what was going to happen. But
Yeah,
honestly,
it wasn't even near Bridgestone. It was in Bridgestone Arena.
yeah. Honestly, though, I think we should start the show off by saying thank you to. Oop, I didn't want to do that. Thank you to everyone who had a role to play in getting everything going and giving us the opportunity to go to the game today. Um, I'm sure it took a lot of work from the people at Bridgestone Arena. I'm assuming the Predators um, organization as a whole had some role in it because I know that the NHL usually has a role in most games that happen in their arenas or um, like the outdoor games. Like they do most of the work setting up the the ice for that. So honestly, like it made for a great venue, um, great game, great atmosphere. Really, I think everything you wanted to have happen, like they were able to get accomplished today, and huge shout out to them and Western and Northeastern for both being able to deal with all the adversity and put on a hell of a game.
Yeah, and I honestly think it made for a little bit of a better game than it would have at Bridgestone Arena. And there's nothing against Bridgestone Arena. I have been there for a game. They put on a great atmosphere for fans for their NHL games. Yeah, it was unfortunate, but we still got to go hang out on Broadway. You got a stellar looking cowboy hat on you, even with the face paint. Uh, and it was basically flawless as far as things went, um, getting into the game and having that experience. Other than the 2-for-1 beers that I did not know I was getting, uh, it was just a fun experience and it made for a great game. And both teams didn't seem to affect them any.
No, I mean Western came out and played, got out to a great start like they normally do. Um, and we'll get more into the game in a little bit. We'll actually go period by period to break that down. But yeah, I know both teams handled it great. I mean, there was probably maybe what do you think fit in there? Like maybe 1,500, 2,000 people at the game, if that.
Oh, I would say maybe 500 to 1,000.
You think it's really that small? Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
maybe.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was not a big arena.
but it sounded like a lot more. Like it was loud, and there was definitely heard some "Let's Go Huskies" chants. I led a few "Let's Go Broncos" chants. Um, it was a great game back and forth. Great atmosphere, and everyone who was there was super helpful. I mean, there was maybe a little bit of confusion when we first got there about where we were supposed to go and what we were supposed to do, but that all got figured out.
And very quickly.
Yeah,
That was the thing. It was figured out very, very quickly.
but it was a great time. Great. I would honestly go to another game. And for those who don't know, like the game ended up being played at one of the practice sites for the Nashville Predators. Like it was smaller than a lot of high school arenas, both in Michigan, and I'm for sure in
Come on.
Minnesota.
I was like, you know where I'm from. Come on, let's get there.
I got distracted by my brush my teeth alarm. Okay. Um. So yeah, it ended up being a more intimate affair than I think a lot of people were expecting it to be. But it honestly, I think it brought more to the game and it made the game more enjoyable for everyone who was there.
Yeah, it was a super fun atmosphere, and um, a shout out to the Northeastern fans that I talked with. There was, which was to be expected because there's no real rivalry between the two teams. It was just they were playing a game. They were super nice. They were friendly, fun to talk with, uh, and they also made the experience more enjoyable for the people that I talked with. Just because it wasn't like, oh, my team's so much better. It wasn't a North Dakota type atmosphere. It was just two teams playing each other. We're gonna have fun, and we're in Nashville. We're gonna have fun while we're in Nashville.
I mean, there was like a little bit of a rematch, having these two teams play in the or being that these two teams played in the opening round of last year's NCAA tournament. But it was a completely different game from that game that we saw in March of this year. Like
Hmm.
that was a tightly contested game. I think I mean it was 1-1 or it was 1-0 for the longest time. Northeastern finally got the one to tie it up, and then Western ended up winning that one in overtime. But this was a completely different game than that. Like
Yeah,
the Western offense, and we can get into the actual game now, but Western's offense got off to a stellar start. There was a little bit of a push from Northeastern right at the beginning of the game, but Western was really able to get into their groove and play their game and put on a pretty dominant offensive showing. They got a goal early, a fluke turnover, got it to 1-1. But Western responded right back and didn't even let it phase them that they had given up a goal, and they left the first period 2-1. And honestly, like I even tweeted this out, like the bad turnover is the only reason this game is as close as it is. Between the bad turnover and the great play in net by Levi, like he kept Northeastern in that game because it was a relentless offense by Western in the first period.
it was it, basically Western showed me what I was scared of last weekend in that first period. Um, the fact that we were able to get out with a split was amazing, even when we scored on ourselves. Um, Western just they outplayed them, and they were the better team on the ice. And I know I turned to you as we were watching the game. I said, "Your team is just the better team, flat out." The and you turned to me and said, "That guy right there," pointing to Levi, was the difference in the game at that point in time. He was the only reason that Northeastern was even in the game.
Well, he 100% gave them every opportunity to be in that game, and is a lot of the reason why it didn't really break open until the third period. But like they were in that game, and it was more they did a Northeastern did a great job of jumping on their opportunities that Western gave them, and we saw it with the first goal in the first period when they Western essentially turns the puck over 5 feet in front of their goaltender Cameron Rowe, and he just can't. He really has no opportunity to make a play to stop the puck. The kid makes a great move, beats him, and it's a 1-1 game. Western gets right back on their horse, and they find another goal. Poland gets his second of the night. Like he has two goals in the first period on one of the, if not the best goaltender in the country.
Hmm.
And you're just like, okay, we've figured out how to score on him. Can we limit our opportunities? Second period, for the most part, Western does just that. It's really they get another goal from let me see who scored the third goal real quick, since I tweeted about all of them.
Yeah, this is more on you because I was not paying attention
Zach,
as far as
Zach,
to.
Zach Columbus is the defenseman who absolutely ripped that shot from the I think it was from the I think his was from the slot. Poland had the dirty snipe in the first when he gets in kind of on a breakaway,
Yeah,
beating
because you had
Levi.
two slot goals.
Yeah. And then Zach Columbus makes it 3-1 pretty early in the second period. it was hard to figure out what they were calling for the most part. I mean, at some point, eventually, I was able to figure out or watch the refs' hands enough times, and I figured out what was going on. And really, the turning point in the second period, if I'm like being honest about it, was whatever they call or there's a scrum in the northeastern zone, which for the second period was furthest away from us, and it ends up being Western's awarded a penalty shot for a northeastern player covering the puck in the crease, and
Hmm.
they elect to let Ryan McAllister go for the penalty shot, and he gets the way I described it. He got too close too quick, and didn't really make a move on Levi, and Levi just kind of stones him.
And the way that I watched it, he just waited too long to make a move. He tried to make too many moves, and then he waited too long.
Too many moves was no move at all, really, because he skated in and just ran into Levi. Honestly,
He he tried to do the triple deke, and the triple deke did not work, and then he really did not know what he was going to do after that moment. And yeah, he got in too close, and then it was like, oh well, now what do I do? I didn't think this far ahead.
but that was really like kind of the turning point in the second period of the game, because after that it was more uh, Northeastern got a little momentum going with that stop made by Levi. Western takes two bad penalties, like literally, I think within the final 3 minutes of the period.
Yep.
Um, and Northeastern's
especially
able,
especially the second one.
yeah, Northeastern's able to score just as or just after the first one had expired. Our player's not quite back in the game yet, so you could still kind of see it as a power play goal because we got four, they got five in the zone, and it's just a fat rebound goes back door, and the Northeastern kid buries it. Like pretty much had the open net and just buried it. And then Western gets called for another penalty, and
I think
they
the
almost ran the exact same play, except it was a pass across to the back door, which is again wide open, and we end up with 3-3 going into the second intermission after Western had kind of dominated play up until that point. And I mean, kudos to Northeastern for staying in the game and getting those, capitalizing once again on their opportunities, like I said earlier.
I think the second penalty was that the elbowing call, because I know there was an elbowing call against
That one,
Western.
no, that one was against elbowing was against them.
Was it okay?
I don't know. It was like I said, it was hard to get some of the penalty calls. I'll see if I have it.
Because they did
They
not have the microphone
no.
for this game. But
Well, one was
regardless of
it
what
was
happened,
roughing. I think it was roughing and tripping were the two back to back on Western.
but regardless, Western, they were actually doing a very good job of keeping the puck to the outside on the PK. And then they lost track of the forward that was on the back door, but that puck had eyes. It because they went cross ice to the back door somehow through about three Western sticks and two of their own, and they just buried it. So kudos on whoever scored for Northeastern. Um, it I was not paying attention to who scored. It was more or less they scored and they tied it up, and it was within the last 30 seconds of the period. I think there was 30.2 or something like that left on the clock. And that was a tough one going into the break, because you never want to give up a goal within the first minute or within the last minute of a period. And Western did that, and Northeastern was able to go up or tie it up 3-3.
Yeah, and I mean they carried a lot of momentum even into the third period, and they came out in the third period pretty strong too. They got the first goal of the third period when Cameron Rowe, he couldn't corral the rebound. It's bouncing around down there, and it ends up in the back of the net. And Northeastern gets their first lead of the night, 4-3. It would prove to be their only lead, but like Western they didn't come out hard in the third, but they found their game again. And when they did find it, it was pretty much back to that. We're going to control the game. Good luck to you. Because as we were talking about, like on our way back to the hotel, like the Western defense does not play defense the way most teams play defense. Like they don't play
Mm-mm.
to really allow you to take shots, even bad shots. Like you've got to catch Western in transition if you want a decent shot or any real shot at getting a shot on net. Their It feels like their defense is set up to literally just regain possession of the puck and transition right back to offense 200 feet down the ice. They do a great job keeping
Yeah.
teams wide. They do a great job getting sticks in lanes. They pressure guys on walls. Like they play big, they play heavy, and it's to regain possession of the puck. It's not to let you get a bad shot that the goalie can see coming and make the save and then win the puck back in a face off. Like that's not how they play. They want
No.
to regain possession of the puck, get to their breakout and their transition game, get in the offensive zone and set it up and almost run their 5-on-5 like a power play. Like they want to play to the point, they want to cycle the puck, they want to get shots in, get a guy in front to screen the goalie and do what they need to do to put pucks on net and in the net. And we saw quite a bit of that today. Like there's shooters everywhere on this team. This team is super deep and they beat one of, if not the best goalies in college hockey right now.
Yeah, and going back to that fourth goal that Northeastern scored, that's one that Rowe has to stop. Yes, it was on the far end of the ice, so we didn't get a good look at exactly what happened, but it looked like it hit him in the chest. But as far as Western goes, it's not a for me being from Minnesota, it's not a Jacques Lemaire, we're gonna try and beat you 2-1 defense. It's we're gonna beat you 5-4 and we're gonna beat you 5-3. We're not trying to give up goals, but we'll give up goals just because we want to get possession back and we know we're a deep enough team. And that's what I got out of this game. And I know we've talked about it and we can see it in the stats, but actually watching this Western team play, they're scary good. They're just scary good. And it's one of those teams where I said I would be happy with the split coming out of last weekend. And I'm even more happy with the split coming out of this weekend now actually seeing that team play in person because that defense, they want the puck back. It's not well, our goalie will get it. Like you said, our goalie will get it. We'll win the faceoff. It's no, we're going to win the board battles. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Um,
We're going to
and
take the
get the
puck back and
puck
we're going to
back.
shove it down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
Because there wasn't
And
even really a lot of dump and chase either in the offensive zone. As we're going to carry it, we're gonna try and circle back. We're gonna drop pass. We're gonna do some stuff to keep the puck moving, but we want possession of it. We're not trying to race you for the puck. We're not trying to fight you for the puck. If we have the puck, it's our puck. You have to come get it. If you have the
well,
puck, we're coming for it and we're gonna take it.
and you could see Northeastern, they got flustered by that because they're not used to that style of play. And the second period, yeah, they had momentum, but in the first and third, especially in the third, they were not ready for it. They did not know what to do as soon as they got the puck on their stick because a forward or a defenseman, depending on where they had the puck, was right on top of them. And Western outworked them. They outbattled them. And that's what they do. And that, as cliche as it is, that's NCHC hockey. And Northeastern is not used to NCHC hockey. So I think we both picked Western to win this game. I don't think we figured it was going to be as high scoring as it was,
No, I was not
but
predicting 10 goals, that's for sure. Um,
it was entertaining, and it was a showcase of what NCHC hockey is to a I think Northeastern's Hockey East.
East, yeah.
Um, a showcase as to what a good conference is, and not to disparage Hockey East, but they have not been the cream of the crop like they think they are the last few years. And also credit to the referees.
It was a
They
pretty
they let
pretty
them
w
play.
yeah, it was a pretty good called game. There was they let quite a bit go in the 3rd that I think could have been called, but I think there was only 1 penalty in the 3rd period, and that was the trip against,
Against Northeastern. That
Northeastern that ended up leading to I think they killed all of them off. I don't think we scored on the power play at all.
But it was
Yeah,
definitely
or no,
because
did
it
we?
happened right in front
Was
of us.
was Sassen's goal on the power play? I think it was just after it
I,
expired. I don't think
it,
we
it
actually
was
got a
very
power
close
play.
because it was kind of
Or
it was kind of tough to tell
it was
with
either
the
right
one
before it
scoreboard.
expired or it was right after it expired. Let me check and see what Western put on Twitter as far as it being a power
But
play
it
goal. But we get a goal from defenseman Zach Galambos, who I think is our leading defenseman goal scorer to retie the game. He had that beautiful shot from or no, I'm sorry, Bauer tied the game at 4 aside. Zach Columbus made it 3-1. Jacob Bauer picked up his first of the year to which was I think that was the snipe from or that had eyes from the point. He let it go from the
mhm.
right point and absolutely buried it. Um and that made it 4-4. It doesn't say whether Sassen's goal is a power play goal or not on Twitter because it was super close to whether or not it was deemed a power play goal. It might have been like there might have been 2 seconds left in the power play if that. It was
Yeah.
extremely close to the end of the power play if not just immediately after it expired to push the lead to 5-4, and that was another one where the puck kind of bounced into the slot and he absolutely made sure that it found its way home to the twine.
Yeah, it went that one, it was on the goalie's right and it ended up bouncing to his left, and there was no chance because it was basically in the slot.
And then they pull Northeastern being they there pulls Levi with about they attempted it a couple times and Western was able to get the puck back in the offensive zone. So he didn't get a clean shot to leave the net until I think about 125 left.
I think it
Is
was actually more about a minute left
is when they
because
oh yeah, that's right.
Northeastern, yeah,
Yeah.
it was about a minute
50,
left
a minute to
because
56 seconds
Western,
left when they finally were able to pull the
yeah,
goalie. Western shoots at the empty net once and ices the puck. This is maybe the one time when you can like we were talking about this, and it's really the one time that you might have wanted to see more effort out of freshman uh, Ryan
Ryan
McAllister,
McAllister.
who this kid's playing incredible. He had 2 assists or another 3 assist night from this kid, assisting on Poland's first goal, the Zach Columbos goal, and the Max Hassan goal, which was ruled on the power play. The box score says that it is a power play goal. Um, and goal scorers for Northeastern being Aiden McDonough, who had 2. He had the first and fourth to give them the lead. With Jack Williams and Matt Trapani had the second and third goals. I mean, McDonough played a really good game too. He had 2 goals and an assist for Northeastern. But history was made once again by Jason Poland to be the first NCHC player to have 3 hat tricks in a season after picking up hat tricks in back-to-back games against Miami earlier this season. And Max Hassan makes an incredible play in the defensive zone first, poking the puck
Hmm.
away, skating it up ice, and It's a 2-on-1 with an empty net. Max makes the pass over to Poland, who puts it in the net at 1937 to pick up his third hat trick of the season, third goal of the game, third hat trick of the season, and really kind of seal up the Bronco win at 6-4. Max was once again the assassin, picking up the game winning goal with his as he scored the fifth goal for the Broncos tonight. Not the way
I
you want to draw it up, but the result was what you wanted. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and Western had more than the other team.
and I have two things about that the empty net goal. First of all, that was great defensive play, keeping Northeastern to the outside and then poking it away. That hustle, that battle, getting it there, and the pass over. Second of all, can we get the fans in Nashville to pay attention to practices and everything? Because I wanted to throw my hat on the ice for the Hattie, but I was not going to get it over the netting that they have in their practice rink. Come on, let's figure it out. I was willing to lose my Minnesota Wild hat that I have constantly on every week. I was willing to throw it on the ice. Uh, Come on, Nashville, get it together.
And tonight was the sixth time that Western has scored 5 or more goals on the season. Last year it was we score
It's
4. This year it legit might be we score 5. But I mean, Western has literally almost scored at least 4 goals in almost every game. I think there's 3 games where we've been held to under 4. One,
you're you're a
two,
s- you're a scary
3. Yeah,
team.
there's 3. We've been held to under 4 goals only 3 times this year. The first game against Anchorage, the 2-0 shutout against Notre Dame, where we lost that one, and then the lone loss to St. Cloud State, where we lost 4-1. Every other game this season, we've scored 4, if not more, goals. So the offense is deadly. We're still getting production from the top of the line to the bottom of the line. I mean, guys, it is a team effort that is winning games for the Western Michigan Broncos. And honestly, the weakness, which we said at the beginning of the year, was going to be goaltending. We do not have Brandon Bussey back there anymore. It's
Hmm.
evident.
Who is, last I checked, second in the AHL for goals against average. So yeah, you don't have him there.
He's doing a great job with the Providence Bruins. Started the year in Maine in the ECHL and has since been called up. I think an injury issue got him called up to Providence, and he's played great in Providence. Whatever role they're having him there, I think it's really going to be hard for them to send him back to the ECHL.
Hmm.
But Cameron, and I think I said this last episode, like Cameron Rowe is a serviceable goalie, and he makes big saves. We just kind of need him to make 1 or 2 more big saves a game. And we saw that with the fourth goal, that like you got to control those rebounds when they hit you in the chest. You got to figure out how to get that puck
Hmm.
down and in your little safe space behind your pads that goalies have back there, and lock it down. Um, he's a goalie that like you have to think he has a ton of confidence in these games when your team's able to put up 4, 5, 6 goals nightly. Like, y- I hope his mentality is, I only have to I can let 3 in because we score 4. Like that should never be your mentality as a goaltender. I don't think it
Yeah, it
should. It
shouldn't
should
be,
be.
but
It should be. I have an offense that is gonna score goals, and I just got to keep the other team off the scoreboard.
his mentality should be, if I give up one, I'm okay, but I shouldn't give up any. But I think with how deep Western is, he's like, oh, I can give up 2 or 3, and the team's gonna do it. And that's just not gonna work in a one-off playoff game, because you know what? It your team can just that's the bed. They cannot score anything, or they can run into a hot goalie that is just going to make every single save no matter what you do. And um he
And honestly, we
it
saw that
it,
last year.
it,
Like,
it was a it was a question mark coming into the year, and it's not great. It just isn't great, and that's not a knock on him as a person or as a goalie. It just he needs to be better.
and it's not even like he has to be significantly better either. Like I said,
Mm-mm.
he can make some great saves, and he's made great saves in a lot of games. And we've won games because he's allowed less goals than the other goaltender. Like, but at the same time, like we saw this last year, Western had a team about the same amount of offensive production. Really, like there was a reason that the phrase at the end of the year was "we score four," because we scored 4 goals in a lot of games. But look at what happened in the NCHC tournament.
Final,
Ryan
yeah.
Fanti shut down 2 of the most prolific offenses last year to help Minnesota Duluth win the Frozen Four.
Hmm.
Like,
And now, granted, we got a little lucky, I think, um, in both his shutout in the final and the one goal that we scored against Brandon. But still, he
I
he
mean,
stole
honestly,
that game.
he made some incredible saves in that game. The one on Sasson when Sasson's pretty much on a breakaway and he literally just picks the puck off of Sasson's stick. Freaking still angry about that one. But that's just it. Like you can have a team that scores 4 goals, but you run into a stone wall of a goalie who literally just shot down 2 of the well, there's a plane going over. 2
Yep,
of the best
I hear it too.
offenses in the country last year, and you gotta have a goaltender. Or even like, I mean, Western ran into 2 really good goaltenders at the end of the year with Ryan Fanti
Well,
from Duluth
yep, Fanti. Yep,
and
and then
Levi in the tournament.
yep.
And granted, we came out on the winning side of that one 2-1 on an incredible goal by Luke Granger. And we were able to kind of show that like this offense is different than last year's offense, putting up 6 or 5 goals on Levi, 6 goals on Northeastern with the empty netter. But it really comes down to just how much better we need. We haven't seen Cameron Rose best hockey, and we haven't necessarily needed to yet, but we're gonna soon get to a point where we're gonna need you to play your best hockey, or at least get
I
closer and closer to your best every game.
and I would argue you're probably getting his best hockey right now.
I'm
Um,
hoping to give him the benefit of the doubt that we're not getting his best, or if we are getting his best, then he's figuring out how to kind of, to quote PJ Fleck and Andy Murray a little bit here, but hopefully he's getting better every day and he's bettering his best every day, because that's the kind of that's what you have to do in the NCHC. And it's a cliche because it actually means something. Like cliches are cliches because they make sense. They're things that you've said
mhm,
because they've rung true so many times. And this is one of those. You have to get better every day. You have to better your best, and you have to come out and compete game in and game out.
mhm. And I just, from we're far enough into the season now where I think Coach Freshweiler is kind of like, now this is what we have to do. We have to outscore the opponents. We're not gonna out defense them uh via goalie. We have a serviceable goalie. We don't have a great goalie. And I think I think it's going to rely more on the team in front of him how far you guys are going to go. That's the way that I look at it. And with the talent that you have and um the depth that you have, I think you can go far. It's just a matter of that, especially that fourth goal that Northeastern scored. Those are goals that you can't give up. You just can't. And it it makes it tough to have a little bit of faith in this team because you have to have both aspects. You have to have the offense and you have to have the goaltending. And like you mentioned before, you run into a hot goalie. You look at what St. Louis was able to do as literally the 16 seed, even though it's 8 versus 8. They were the lowest seed. They had a hot goalie in Jake Allen and they win the Stanley Cup. You can't do it without goaltending. And I don't think you guys have it.
I think
And
there's
same
definitely
thing
an
is
opportunity for Rowe to go on a run, and we could see him do something. Because here's the thing: Western has had goaltenders who have come in and played incredible freshman year, and then play awful sophomore year, almost to the point of losing the starting job or creating a controversy of who the goalie should be, and and then leave. And we saw a goaltender in Trevor Gorsuch who came in his senior year, had made progressions in practice, in games, and took over the starting role his senior season by shutting out North Dakota in 2017, like when North Dakota was on a roll and was like the North Dakota that you expect them to be. So it's not outside the realm of possibilities for a player to hit a stride and come up big and play an incredible game. I mean, Cameron Rowe has a shutout this year. Let me double check and see who it's against. But it wasn't like a
but
give me shutout either. Like, I mean, he has the capability of playing well, and he has to have some kind of confidence in the team in front of him. But it comes down to one or two saves that you absolutely 100% have to have.
I
And that's why I say I don't think
and I
we've seen
get
his best hockey. I think he's still got room to grow and improve his rebound control. If nothing else, like that has to get better. Um, where is it? Yeah, I mean, he shut out a Notre Dame team that was 12th, 13th in the country who had literally the night before blanked Western 2-0. I mean, he's got that again. That's a pretty good Notre Dame team. He
I
held St.
just
Cloud to 2 goals. He held, I mean, he's
and I think my opinion comes from being spoiled as a UMD fan with the goalies that we've had with um Hunter
your
Shepard,
your goalie
Hunter
situation is not the
Miska.
greatest either. Um,
Well, and that's what I'm saying is like I was gonna get that's where I was going is we had Hunter Miska, we had Kazkowski Suo, who both are playing overseas. We have Hunter Shepard, who is fourth in AHL as far as goal against average. We had Ryan Fanti, and then we were hoping Stayskull was going to be the number one. He just hasn't been that player, and now we have what everybody calls Thiessen. Maybe that's actually how he pronounces his name. I don't know. Um, I'm still going to call him Thiessen, but he's been serviceable and doing enough to keep us in games, but not enough to steal games. And that's where I think last weekend it was more what goalie is not going to make a mistake versus what goalie is going to steal you a game. Now, yeah, it doesn't help on Friday, even though we won that game, that your team is scoring on your own goalie. Um, but I don't have confidence in Thiessen as our goalie, just like I as a Western fan, I would not have confidence in Rowe to keep me in a game, even if the team has everyone but one player with a point at least.
I'm not going to give up on Rowe. I think he needs to, like I said, make one or two more saves a game. Be confident in the team in front of him because Western does a great job defensively of keeping pucks wide.
Hmm.
It's the transition goals or the transition areas or being a man down that we tend to struggle in, and we've given up I think quite a few power play goals this year. We need to limit those opportunities because those aren't always on the goaltender. Like, yeah, I mean that big rebound, but that was kind of more of a shot for a rebound than necessarily a shot on goal. And he had no chance at making the play back.
Well, and
And then the second goal, like, yeah, we've got to be tighter on defense and not allow that puck all the way through like that to basically give them the exact same play.
it's there definitely is a difference between what the goalie should do and what the goalie shouldn't do. I've seen it all year with the Wild. Everybody's blaming every single goal on the goalie. And I'm like, have you seen what the defense is doing? And I'm not trying to blame Cam for every single goal that Western has given up. It's just the ones that he should save that it's like, I just don't have faith in you, dude. It's Devin Dubnik in the last year and a half of his career with Minnesota that I'm seeing that Rowe should stop and he's not. But at the same time, like we've said already probably 10 times during this special stream, he makes big saves when he needs to. And it's kind of like, what why is there this difference between
I think when he gives up a goal or a rebound, I think he goes into panic mode, and instead of just trying to get back in front of the net, he wants to get on the puck and cause a stoppage. And I think that's when the puck gets put in play because he's so far out of position trying to dive on the puck instead of retreating back to his safe place of being at the net.
it'd be interesting to get a perspective of someone like Trevor or even my brother who just plays beer league now, but just a goalie's perspective as to what might be going on because it's kind of like kickers in football. Um, their goalies are a special breed.
Oh, 100%.
They
I mean, they're
truly
willing
are.
to take a puck sometimes if at the pro ranks over 100 miles an hour and get in front of it.
Hey. Briz said it the best though. Who is more crazy? Him with all the padding or the defense? Well, he said defenseman, but it's actually the forwards that
Yeah.
are taking the brunt of it up at the defenseman. Who's more crazy?
Goldberg, you're a goalie. The puck is supposed to hit you.
But it
One of
would
my favorite
be
lines from Mighty Ducks.
it'd be interesting to get um Trevor's perspective, especially Trevor's perspective on this, where he knows what it's like to play at the professional ranks and Division 1 ranks, um, and the mentality of a goalie
Well,
is as to what's going through their mind, especially when they're giving up rebounds like Cam gave up. Yeah, he got the win, but that was kind of that was a softie.
well, you go ahead and
Let's be real.
you float that out to Trev, uh, and see if he's been watching any of the games or wants to watch some of the games and kind of break down some of what he's seeing from the goaltender. That would be fun. That would be cool. But I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I mean, we've been kind of going a little bit longer than I thought we would. We've spent almost an hour talking about one game. Um, I mean, it was a great game. It was a great atmosphere. Once again, huge
Mhm.
shout out to whoever was able to make that happen today. Um, we were literally like staring at phones and Twitter trying to figure out who was going to break some news as to whether or not we were going to get to see the game that we had traveled. Some of us almost 12 hours, I think, when it was all said and done, and we pulled into Nashville last night.
Mhm.
Um, 9 hours in a car,
Trying
couple,
to deal with each other.
yeah, couple breaks here and there. Um, but we make the trip home tomorrow. We stop in Chicago for an AHL game, and then we'll be back. We'll do a normal show on Tuesday. We
We
will.
have the special one on Monday, though.
That's right. We have a. Ooh, man, there's gonna be a lot of episodes this week. Monday we
Mhm.
have special guest, who I do not believe was in the building tonight. I believe he is still with the soccer team, who continues their great run in their NCAA tournament. Um,
So it could be TBD.
I think they play. I think they play Sunday, and I don't think they have another game like immediately close. I think the last one was just they literally played that night, and he was in Tennessee. Actually, I think they were in Nashville, or no, they were in Louisville. Um,
Which we drove through.
yeah, I mean, or were they in Tennessee? I don't remember. Anyway, he was at the soccer game because I watched the soccer game. I was like, oh, well, there he is, and that's why we're not doing our show, and I'm sitting at the bar checking IDs. Anyway, Western Michigan Athletic Director Dan Bartholomew will be joining us on Monday. That'll be a early start time. I think it's 8:30 is when we're scheduled to go on with him.
Yes,
So
8:30 Eastern.
8:30 Eastern, be aware of that. Following that up, we will talk about the other games that are happening this weekend, because this show was literally just dedicated to this game because we were both there. We were hyped about it, wanted to talk about it while it was still fresh. We will cover the other games then, which I think is North Dakota and Bemidji. They're home and home.
Mhm.
Um, Miami
Denver,
versus Michigan
or yeah,
State in
yep,
their
Miami,
non-conference
Michigan State.
play.
And then
I think the
Omaha,
only
Denver.
NCHC series is Omaha Denver, and Duluth isn't playing. St.
Oh, thank God,
Cloud
not playing.
not playing again. Those guys ever play hockey? Jesus.
No,
Um.
they don't.
So yeah, we'll go through those on Tuesday night.
Tuesday. Yep.
Gotta remember that
So
we go again Monday. Um.
yeah, so if you're sick of seeing us, we're sorry. Uh you just have to deal with us a little bit more.
Do, 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 do. I guess normal YouTube stuff, hit the like button if you choose to. You can also hit the dislike button. It's a button there. You can interact with it or don't. Whatever. Um,
Wes will not look this stupid.
there were nobody here for the live, so there's no live chats, but you can always show up and talk in the live chat. Now you'll just have to comment, and I'm pretty good about getting back to the comments. Sometimes it takes me a couple minutes, couple hours, whatever. I do try to respond to most of them. You can always follow us individually on Twitter at our personal handles, which are below our pictures and have been on the screen the whole time. You can also follow along or message us at the show's Twitter handle, which has been scrolling along below in that red box. You can email us at the email address that has also been scrolling around at the bottom of your screen right below. Right down there. All the way down there. Is there anything else?
Well, I think
I think there's really only one
I
thing left to say, and I yelled it tonight.
yeah, I think it was also proven tonight.
That if you get
So
pucks on
I
net,
will
good things
leave it to
happen. We hear goal horns and we sing fight songs. This has been another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. Thank you very much for listening to it after the fact, as it is now no longer live. We welcome you to join us live. Usually it's 9 o'clock-ish Eastern on Tuesdays, so keep that in mind. And maybe one day you'll be here and you'll talk in the little chat below. Once again, huge shout out to whoever was able to get this game. Like, I literally cannot say this enough. The effort that you guys went through and to put on a great game. The ice crew was great. The Everyone at the arena was awesome.
Mhm.
Um, Thank you to all of the Western fans who made it. Thank you to all the Northeastern fans who made it. Um, Honestly, I think this is like what college hockey is all about. The small arenas, the intimate affairs that college hockey games are, and the atmosphere that college hockey fans bring, no matter when or where they play, cannot be expressed enough. And I, for one, am extremely grateful that we were able to go to such a great game, and it saved the hassle that this holiday road trip has been. Um, and I think that's where we're going to end it. I think it's nice to end it on a grateful note and a thankful note, seeing as it
Mhm.
was Thanksgiving's holiday weekend, and I'm thankful for my friends, my family, college hockey, and the opportunity to experience the Hockey City Classic here in Nashville, Tennessee. Anything, Michael?
Nope.
All right, until the next episode, which will be Monday, November 28th at 8:30 Eastern. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great one.